All right, hello everyone. My name is Tatiana Obey. I have a piece of paper today because I wear glasses and I can't really see. So it's blown up, the text is blown up here for me. But I'm an indie author and I write diverse heroines slaying dragons. I like writing black girls slaying stuff and kicking ass. Yes. And today I'm going to read from my award-winning novella, Sistah Samurai. It is inspired by the 90s fusion Black culture, Japanese culture, from Afro Samurai, like Samurai Champloo, even the Boondocks. It takes inspiration from all those animes, but I wanted to update it, bring it to our century, but also center women in an anime narrative, because we didn't have a lot of that. Also, it is rated PG-13 for violence and one curse word, so just letting y'all know. All right, so let's start. I rarely got the opportunity to deviate from my usual routine. Leave home, buy ink, eat lunch, return home, and kill the occasional demon along the way. I knew I shouldn't be so excited about the detour, but when the days become mechanical and rote, it was nice when something blunted the routine. Except those days looking to kill me, I could do without those. I entered through the open industrial doors of the factory and scrunched my nose at the stench of sweat and unwashed bodies. On one half of the factory floor, the paid volunteers rotated between various extraction stations, where they bled and cried and sweated into various containers, their faces gaunt and their frames thin as their souls were wrung out of them. And also the noise was something awful, like some annoying child cracking ice right into my ear. The young female goon that had fled the restaurant was speaking with the foreman at the back of the factory. Over the girl's shoulder, the foreman spotted me and fled towards the stairs. He upturned tables and shattered ink bottles on the way. He ran into the office on the second floor and slammed the door behind him with the heaviness of a beat drop. Two of the foreman's bodyguards unsheathed their katanas. One of the bodyguards placed a talisman along the blade. The ink flared gold, and the blade ignited with tendrils of flames that spiraled around the metal. Cute. I unsheathed my katana, and the sound of it whispered sweetly, like a song you hear to lean in and savor. Then I retrieved the talisman marked with the kanji for fire, and pasted it along the curved steel. I winked, and my katana belted a roaring inferno. Through the lick of flames, his eyes widened. The sudden flare caught everyone's attention, lighting up the dim factory like summer fireworks. Realizing a fight was imminent, the worker ripped their needles from their arms, dropped their mixing pills, and they all stampeded out the factory doors. The only noise left in the factory was the machines, the growl of the oven, and the excited roar of my blade. The noise of the factory floor had been suspended so suddenly, the air held its breath in anticipation. That second bodyguard reached for his talisman. The kanji on it written was too far away to see. It was a bit of a blur, but I braced myself for anything, and a thin film of water cloaked his blade. Ha, right, water against fire. He was trying to be clever. Both bodyguards advanced on me at the same time. I dumped underneath the first attack and blocked the second, fire on fire. My opponent winced, blinded by the brightness of his katana. I shifted back my weight and pitched my opponent forward and slashed a flame through his torso. The stench of burnt flesh stinged my nostrils. Then I turned and blocked a downward of water. Despite the elemental disadvantage, my ink was stronger and thus hotter. So with the hiss, the water evaporated around the opponent's blade. I thought your plan was all gone, the last bodyguard had the gall to say. I thought they died in defense of the capital. What did you do to survive? Abandon them? Run away like a scaredy little girl? My jaw tightened and my molars grinded together. The fog made my grip slippery around the hilt. For a moment, a scene of corpses flashed before my eyes, sisters I had trained and bled with. Bright steel thrust through the fog. On instinct, I twisted on the ball of my foot and countered with the rising strike. Arms went flying, my opponent's katana clattered across the floor and slid underneath one of the vats. The man screamed. I quickly snapped forward and punched my hilt into his face. He fell to the ground and the blood from his severed arm splattered the front of my kimono. I slammed my right foot on the man's chest and stabbed my burning blade into his throat, finally silencing all of his hollering. reflection caught the corner of my eye when a retreating hairline dipped down from the second floor window. My sandals chimed on the metal stairs as I climbed toward the upper level. The office looked like an earthquake that had scattered papers all throughout the room, and I shuddered at the disorganized mess. It smelled of hair gel and rank feet. A wall of grimy windows caught poor lighting into the room. I distinctly heard whimpering from across the room. From underneath the desk, I dragged out the foreman by a bushel of his jerry curls and shoved him against the window. I had to clutch him tight, because he slicked against those grimy windows like grease. I threatened, "Tell your warlord that he is not welcome in this village. Also, his goons could use some better manners." "Tell him yourself, bitch," the foreman spat. I thrust back my arm. The foreman squeezed his eyes shut, and I pierced my fire-coated katana through the window. Spider webs crawled through the glass, forming a jagged, giant web that then shattered at the fault lines. Fresher air muffled some of that stink of the office, thank God. The foreman peeked both of his eyes open. Shock and surprise overcame his face to realize he was unharmed. His little mustache twitched as he opened his mouth to say something, but I didn't care. I tossed him out the window. A scream and splash soon followed. I watched unsympathetically as the foreman flailed and drowned in the boiling vat of ink. I looked over my shoulder at the huddled and quivering figure in the corner. Wouldn't want her to think I had missed her. I approached her as she sobbed into her pink bandana. "Tell your warlord that this village is protected," I said a second time. I did not like repeating myself. "Yes, ma'am," she snivelled as she bobbed her head like a lucky beckoning cat. Finally, someone around here who had learned some manners. I just didn't understand why I had to be the one dishing out the lesson. I didn't have time to go around educating folks. I didn't have the time to correct every ignorant word that fell from the mouths of people who didn't care to change. Nor should I always have to prove why my existence deserves their respect. But then, there are those days where your patience wears thin and the cuts are too many to ignore, when you're too tired, but not tired enough, when you've had enough of the tomfoolery, and you've reached that magical moment when you've manifested the ability to make time. Someone's got to teach these fools, never disrespect a black woman.